Hey guys, welcome to this easygoing yoga flow. In this class, we're going to start off slow and really work into our body's range of motion, and then we'll build it up into a more dynamic flow. You won't need any props for this class, so go ahead and get your mat set up and we'll get started. To begin, let's lie ourselves over onto our backs, place the soles of your feet together, and lie on down for Supta Baddha Konasana. You can draw your heels in closer to your midline, or you can have them further away if you want to isolate the stretch in the outer hips more. Place your soles evenly together and actively draw your knees down towards the mat to help intensify the stretch through your inner groin. Lift your chest gently and draw your shoulder blades together, palms face up towards the ceiling. And lastly, draw your chin towards your chest to help lengthen the back of your neck. Close your eyes, and for the next few breaths, quieten into your body. Notice if you can slow your heart rate, release any tension that might have built up. These first few moments of a yoga class really set the tone for the rest of the practice. So it's important for you to bring your body and your mind into a stable state where your breath is even, there's no anxiety or stress. And then you can carry that through your practice, whether that's moving through challenging postures. Even though your body might be under stress, you're doing it and approaching it with a relaxed state of mind. See if you can lengthen your exhales to be roughly double that of your inhale. So if you inhale for 3 seconds, see if you can exhale for 6. And what that does, it will enable you to calm your nervous system. And you'll notice that your body enters a much more relaxed state. Take 2 more slow and controlled breaths. And when you're ready, open your eyes, draw your knees together, plant your feet on the mat, and as evenly as you can, make your way up and over onto your hands and knees. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out. Find any tight areas in your body. Move in an organic and natural way. From here, gaze between your hands. Inhale your right leg up and exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Lower your back knee down, untuck your toes, and bring your hands up onto your front knee for Kapiyasana or low lunge. Before we inhale the arms up, just start to feel the sensations of the stretch. Where do you feel it? Ideally, it should be in your left hip flexor, so see if you can adjust your body so that you intensify the stretch in your psoas muscle on the left side. Take a deep inhale And on an exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Maybe you want to pulse into your hips so that you can place that dynamic tension on your left hip flexor. Once you find this pose a little bit more accessible, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Stretch through your fingertips. Lift your chest, draw your shoulders up and back. And exhale. One more big inhale. Exhale, release your hands to the inside of your right foot and heel toe that foot to the outside edge of your mat for lizard lunge. You can stay on your hands, or if you feel a bit more open already, you can make your way down onto your forearms. Take a look at your right foot. You can have your toes facing forward if that feels comfortable for you, but make some adjustments here. If you want, you can turn your toes out on an angle so that they're facing roughly 2 o'clock on a clock face. You can also roll onto the outer edge of that right foot. The idea is we want to feel this stretch in our right outer hip. So make those micro adjustments so that you can feel it there. Once you find your position and you've tailored it to suit your body, start to settle and breathe into your lizard lunge. Sometimes I'll encourage you to move and adjust yourself dynamically in a pose, but there's also times where I want you to see if you can find stillness and really think about what sensations you're feeling. Sometimes when you have a tendency to move, it might be that you're avoiding certain uncomfortable sensations. So find that balance between moving into your stretch and also being able to find stillness to embrace any discomfort that you're feeling. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, make your way up onto your hands and bring your foot back into that lunge position. Lift your back knee off the ground, runner's lunge. Plant your hands, step back through plank pose, and let's hold plank for a few breaths. Feet together, lift your hips up, squeeze your glutes, draw your navel in towards your spine, dome your upper back, protract your shoulder blades, and press firmly into your fingers. Breathe and settle. We'll be here for a few moments. This is one of those times where I'm encouraging you to find stillness. Avoid that temptation to move when you start to feel any discomfort. When you are forced to be still in your body, you have to be still with your mind. You can't avoid any thoughts by moving. You have to embrace that feeling of discomfort. So just notice why you choose to move. Is it because you want to adjust your stretch, or is it because you want to escape any thoughts in your mind? And step your feet hips distance apart. Make your way through a vinyasa, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Same thing as we did before. Lower your back knee down and come on up into Kapiyasana or low lunge. On this side, we're trying to isolate that right hip flexor or that right psoas muscle. So make those adjustments. Dynamically pulse into your front leg so that you can intensify the stretch. And once you find that sweet spot, stay there for a moment. Allow your body to open up into this position. And when you're ready, inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Grow tall through your fingertips. Inhale, reach up, draw your shoulder blades back. And exhale, sink a little bit deeper. One more inhale. Exhale. Release your hands to the inside of your left foot and come into lizard lunge. You know what to do this time. But make those micro adjustments to suit your body, to suit your pose. So come down onto your forearms if that's accessible to you, and then consider the direction of your left foot. Maybe you want to roll onto the outer edge of your left foot or keep it firmly planted on the mat. Whatever suits you and makes you feel like you're getting the most out of this pose. Remember that the target area is our left outer hip, maybe even slightly into the inner hip here, but make those adjustments now so that you can find the stillness in this pose. Once you find that, focus on your breath, breathe and settle. Three more breaths. When you're ready, make your way up onto your hands. And come into your runner's lunge. Lift your back knee off the mat. Step back through plank and through a vinyasa into downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out. Move your hips side to side. And gaze between your hands. Tiptoe your way all the way up to the front of your mat. Inhale halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, half Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, round your spine, bend your knees, and come to standing in Tadasana. We'll make our way through about 4 rounds of sun salutations. Make these personal to you. So if you want to ramp up the intensity, feel free to take handstand, jump forward, float forward. Or if you really want to pull things back and focus on your refinement, slow things down, step back, but focus on each individual pose in the sun salutations. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands and step back through your first vinyasa. If you like, you can lower your knees down if that push-up's too hard for you. Otherwise, let's all meet in downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, draw your chest towards your thighs. Gaze between your hands. Step, walk or jump your way up to the front of your mat. Remember, you can modify this to suit you. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Let's do one more round together. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. And on an exhale, forward fold, all the way down for Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. Exhale, plant your hands. Maybe this time you jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. From here, come high in your toes, so lift your heels up, lift your kneecaps, engage your quads, and from there, draw your chest towards your thighs. Without losing that engagement, start to draw your heels down towards your mat. Keep the chest moving towards the mat. Your legs are working. Your shoulders are fully flexed. And gaze between your hands. Bend your knees, step or jump. Maybe float to the front of your mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And rise all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. For the next 2 rounds, I'm not going to speak. I just want you to move and flow at your own pace. Inhale, reach your hands up. And make your way through your sun salutation. See if you can slow and refine your movements. Become aware of every sensation throughout the flow. It should be a mindful movement, not mindless. And when you're ready, we'll all meet in downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale your right leg up towards the ceiling, and on an exhale, draw your knee towards your nose and step your foot between your hands. Find the top of your runner's lunge to begin with, and from here, place your back foot down at about 45 degrees or facing 10 o'clock on that clock face. We're going to inhale up into warrior one, but before you do that, I really want to make sure that you're pressing firmly into your back foot. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead for warrior one. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. You can bring your hands onto your hips for this first round. Really press your left hip forward and see if you can draw your right hip back as you square your hips to the front of your mat. Think about that back leg. There's a tendency to bend your left knee. But one of the ideas in Warrior 1 is that we're wanting to stretch our left psoas muscle, which is often very tight. So if you bend that back knee, you're not going to stretch that muscle as much. So try and keep that back leg straight. Press firmly into the outer edge of your left foot. Keep squaring your hips forward. Draw your elbows together. Lift your chest. Inhale, reach your arms up for one breath here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. And release your hands down to your mat. Step back through your vinyasa. Just warrior one for this round. I really want you to think of opening up into your hip flexors before you find that full pose. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Step your left foot between your hands. Runner's lunge. Place your back foot down firmly. Face it, your toes facing 2 o'clock on the clock face. And press firmly into your back foot. Inhale, reach your arms up. Warrior one. Bring your hands onto your hips and square your right hip forward whilst pressing firmly onto the outer edge of your right foot. So we're stretching through our right hip flexor here. You might not be able to fully square your hips forward, but I would rather them be on an angle than bending your back knee to be able to square them. That defeats the purpose. Once you feel a bit more grounded in this pose, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Notice if your pinky toe on your back foot tends to lift up, and see if you can press it down firmly. Exhale, release your hands down. Vinyasa. Let's do that one more time on each side, but this time bring your arms straight up, and we'll hold it for a couple breaths only. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, plant your foot. Inhale up for warrior one. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Keep pressing firmly into your back foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, plant your hands down. Vinyasa. Let's do that on the left side. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, plant your foot. Warrior one. Keep your brain in your back foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, sink. One more big inhale. Exhale. Release your hands down. Vinyasa. Nice work, yogis. Warrior one is one of those poses that just takes a long time to open up into because most of us have really tight hip flexors. And that's why we tend to prefer crescent lunge, because it requires and demands less of your hip flexors. So let's add on to that a little bit. Inhale, reach your right foot up. Exhale, plant your foot. Warrior one. Inhale. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. One more inhale. And exhale, sink. From here, bring your hands out to the side like wings. Straighten your front leg and adjust yourself so your hips should be squared forward. This is the top of our revolved triangle pose. So before we come on down, I want you to feel stable in your feet. Keep your brain in your back leg and keep pressing firmly onto your back foot. With your arms out to the side, reach forward through your left fingertips and bring your hand to the inside or preferably the outside edge of your right foot. Inhale your right hand up. So if your left hand is on the inside of your right foot, you won't get as much of a twist through the torso. That's not the classical way to do it, but it might help you find your balance a bit more. We'll be here for 3, 2, 1. Frame your front foot with your fingertips, bend into your front knee, and vinyasa. Let's do that over on the left side. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Step your foot between your hands. Plant your back foot down and inhale up for warrior one. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Keep pressing into your back foot. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Feel this pose before you bring your arms out to the side like wings. Straighten your front leg. And let's come into our revolved triangle pose. Parivrtta Trikonasana. Reach forward with your right fingertips and bring your right hand down to the outer edge of your left foot. Reach up through your left hand. But keep the brain in your back foot. Remember to keep pressing firmly onto the outer edge of your right foot. Draw your left hip back as you do that. Couple breaths. Open your torso. So draw your left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. Reach through the crown of your head to keep your spine long. Gaze in front of your left toes. Frame your foot, bend into your front knee. Vinyasa. And downward facing dog. For our next round, we're going to ramp up the intensity with some dynamic movement and repetition. So have fun with this. If you find this challenging, that's okay. Slow it down. Inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Step your foot between your hands. And inhale up for warrior one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. You should be feeling much more open in your warrior pose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring your hands out to the side. Straighten your leg and come straight on down for revolved triangle pose. Inhale, draw your right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Reach up through your right fingertips. Pause here for one breath. Then gaze in front of your right toes, and we're coming up into revolved half moon. So reach your left fingertips in front of your right toes. Press yourself on up for revolved half moon. Lift your back leg off the ground. Keep your torso turning to the right. Pause here for just a moment. Find your balance. Keep working your top leg. Lift the kneecap of your top leg. And when you're ready, bend into your right knee, step your left toes down, and open your arm up for a revolved lunge. Work your back leg. We're maintaining this revolved torso the entire time. And from here, let's add on with a little bit of a dynamic flow. So press firmly into your left hand, roll onto the outer blade of your left foot, and flip it over for wild thing. So your right toes come behind you. Reach forward with your right fingertips. And from here, hug your right knee into your chest, step it towards the front of your mat, plant your right foot, come up into warrior three with your hands at your heart. And let's move through that sequence about 4 times. Bend into your right knee, plant your left hand, flip it over, wild thing, and plant your right foot, warrior three. It'll become easier for you as you become more familiar with it. Few more, wild thing, warrior three. Find that rhythm, wild thing, warrior three. Last one, wild thing, warrior three. Once again, wild thing, and this time I want you to plant your right hand, thread your right foot over to the left. Inhale, revolt, fallen triangle.
Reach through your left fingertips, press the ground away, lift your hips, and lastly, plant your hand, thread your foot through for your vinyasa. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but on the left side, we can find a bit more fluidity in that movement because we're more familiar with it. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Warrior one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Don't lose the integrity of the movement because you're just thinking about the next pose. Inhale, exhale. Arms out to the side. Revolve triangle pose. Keep pressing into your back foot. Couple breaths here. See if you can slow your heart rate in these still poses. Gaze in front of your left toes, revolved, half moon. Lift your back foot up. Revolve your left torso back. See if you can keep your torso open to the left the entire time as we move through this sequence. And bend into your left knee. Plant your back toes, revolved lunge. Press firmly into your right hand and flip it over for your wild thing. Reach forward with your left fingertips. Hug your left knee into your chest. Step it to the front of your mat. Warrior three. Let's find that fluid movement here. Wild thing. Warrior three. Just 5 reps. Wild thing. Warrior three. 2 more. Last one. Warrior three. And wild thing. From here, plant your left hand, thread your left foot through, fallen triangle. Lift your hips, breathe, plant your right hand, thread your left foot through for your vinyasa. Nice work. And let's go through that one more time on each side, this time finding a bit more fluidity and speed in your movements so we know where to go. 1 breath per movement. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Inhale up, warrior one. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Bring your hands out to the side. Revolve triangle. Inhale and exhale. Revolved half moon. Lift your back leg off the ground. Revolve your torso. 1 breath, inhale. Exhale, twist. Bend into your front leg. Revolved lunge. You know where to go from here. Wild thing. Warrior three. Wild thing. Find that fluid, dynamic movement. Keep the flow going. My microphone cable is about to come undone, but I'm not going to let that distract me. 1 more time, wild thing. Warrior three. Wild thing. And fallen triangle. Plant your right hand. Thread it over. Vinyasa. So let's do that over on the opposite side. Downward facing dog. Hold that briefly while I readjust my microphone cable. Okay. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step your foot between your hands. Warrior one. Exhale, sink. Arms out to the side. Padrita Trikonasana, revolve triangle. Inhale, exhale, twist your torso more. Gaze in front of your left toes. Revolved half moon. Breathe. Bend into your left knee, revolved lunge. Lift your left foot off the ground, flip it over for your wild thing to warrior three transition. That's 2. 3. Almost lost my balance there. 4. And 5. Coming through, plant your left hand, revolved or fallen triangle. Plant your right hand, vinyasa. And let's all meet in downward facing dog. Lower your knees down, sit back on your heels. So before we come into some of the more quiet stretches, I want us to play around with a little bit of an arm balance. And this is just here for fun. Don't take it too seriously. If you're proficient at it, hold it, add your variations in, go over to the other side, repeat it. But if you're new to it, just use this as a time to play and have fun. So the arm balance we're going to be trying today is side crow. And what we're going to do to start is come into a kneeling position or a little squat with your toes together in the center of your mat. And we'll try it over on the right side to begin with. Doesn't really matter which side you start with. But from this little mini squat position, what I want you to do is bring your hands into prayer at your heart. And I want you to twist to the right, but keep your knees facing forward. From here, plant your hands shoulder width apart on your mat, so they should look a little bit like downward facing dog hands. And from here, bend your elbows and stack your right knee on the top of your tricep, just above your elbow, and your right hip will come and balance on your right elbow. Start to shift the weight forward, keep your knees squeezing together, and we're going to lift our toes off the ground and hug our heels in towards our glutes. Lift on up, breathe, hold it here, gaze towards the center of your mat. This is one of the easier variations of side crow. Hold it for one breath, then lower down, plant your toes, come to center. So what we can do is try that again on the opposite side, and there'll be an extra little variation that you can add in if you want to play around with a different variation here. So we're going to play around with straightening one of our legs. So from this little squat position with the toes together, hands to your heart, twist on over to the left, keep your knees facing forwards, plant your hands on your mat, shoulder width apart, spread your fingers. Your left knee comes on top of your right elbow, and your left hip stacks on top of your left elbow. Then shift the weight and lean it forward. So right now, my hip is stacked on top of my elbow, then my toes float off the ground. You can play around with straightening your right leg if that feels good. Maybe straighten your left leg, or just hold it here for a breath or two. Then lower down, find your little squat position. And that was one of the ways to enter side crow. And there's plenty of different variations you can modify that with. One of them is not allowing your hip to touch your elbow. So what that looks like, your right knee would be on top of your left tricep, just like it was before. But this time we're not going to stack our right hip on the elbow. So from there, you can have a look. My right elbow is free and hovering. I can straighten the legs, do whatever I need to. The other variation would be with the right hip on top of the elbow. Both of them offer different variations. The main idea with stacking the hip is that it makes it a little bit easier for you to find your balance. So if you like, pause the video, play around with that, and when you're ready, we'll come into our quietening down session. Find downward facing dog just briefly. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend your knee, draw your right knee towards your right wrist, and your right foot over to the left side of your mat for pigeon. Set yourself up. To make this easier, you can draw your right heel in towards your groin, or to make it a little bit more challenging, have it so that your right shin is almost parallel to the top of your mat. If you can, come down onto your forearms. Find your variation and then settle into it. We'll be here for a few moments. So use this as a chance to quieten your body, to lower your heart rate if you found that it was quite elevated. It's important to spend some time at the end of each intense yoga class quietening the body, lowering those stress levels on your body, and returning your mind and your body to that state that we tried achieving in that first pose of the class, Supta Baddha Konasana. Use your breath as the tool to do that. Take 3 more deep, slow and controlled breaths here. When you're ready, make your way up onto your hands. Plant your back toes. Lift your back knee off the ground and come through downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out and let's move over to the opposite side. So left knee comes to your left wrist, left toes over to the right side of your mat, and make that adjustment whether that's your heel in towards your groin or parallel to the front of your mat or somewhere in between. Then make your way down onto your forearms if that's accessible to you. It's perfectly fine to be up on your hands. Even though this is a stretch for your outer hip, at this point in the class we're also or mainly using it to just quieten the mind and quieten the body. It's a pose where we can let our head hang, let the front brain quiet. Three more deep, slow and controlled breaths. Notice how much calmer your body's become just through slowing your breath down. When you're ready, make your way on up, plant your hands, untuck your back toes, and make your way into downward facing dog one last time. Then, however you like, make your way over onto your back. Lie yourself down. Before we end in Shavasana, briefly hug your knees in towards your chest. Take a hold of your right knee, straighten your left leg along your mat, and twist that leg over to the left. Gaze over your right shoulder. Keep drawing your right hip towards the bottom of your mat to help keep your spine evenly stretched. Inhale, exhale, twist a little bit deeper, draw your shoulder to the mat, and help actively press your right knee down towards the ground. Just one breath here to release the spine. Inhale back through center. Hug your knees into your chest and take a hold of your left knee this time.
Straighten your right leg and twist your left leg over to the right. Once again, draw your left hip point down towards the bottom of your mat. Keep your spine evenly stretched and intensify your stretch. Inhale, exhale, twist. One more inhale and exhale, twist. Release through center. One more time. Hug your knees into your chest and lie yourself out for Shavasana. Place your feet to the corners of your mat. Have your hands alongside your body, palms facing up. Slightly draw your chin towards your chest. Keep the back of your neck nice and long so that the air can flow in and out of your lungs easily. And for the next few moments, we'll just be here, completely surrendering onto our mats for Shavasana. If you find any distracting thoughts entering your mind, see if you can focus on your breath. Once again, just like we did at the start, see if you can double the length of your exhales to your inhales. So if you inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 6. If you inhale for 2 seconds, exhale for 4. When you lengthen the exhales like that, it has an effect on your nervous system of just calming everything down and bringing your body into a state of relaxation. It's a very simple exercise. So for the next few moments, see if you can do that. Notice at the top of your inhale and the bottom of your exhale, there are these moments of emptiness, of stillness, where there's no movement of the breath. In yoga, that's called the kumbhaka, or the breath hold. You can keep that as long or as short as you like, but just notice it. Notice how your body feels in that moment of stillness when your lungs are empty or your lungs are full. When you're ready, start to bring the awareness back. Move your fingers, your thumbs, your wrists. Gently roll yourself over onto your right hand side. And just be here for a moment, noticing the new stillness in your body from your slowed breath. Keep your eyes closed and press yourself up to a seated position. Bring your hands onto your knees. Keep your spine nice and long. Inhale, fill your lungs, slow and controlled. And slowly exhale it out.
One more time, inhale nice and slow. And exhale. Thank you so much for making your way through that flow with me. I hope you've enjoyed it and you're feeling much more mobile and fluid in your body, and that you've helped to really bring stillness into your body and your mind through that quiet Shavasana session. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Namaste.